Welcome back to the Unapologetic Podcast. Today I have with me my friend Kate, and we are just going to have a really good conversation about probably a whole ton of stuff like we usually do. So, Kate, introduce ourselves, introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, thanks for having me, first of all. I'm Kate Gilbert, and kind of long story is I ran an online knitting magazine for 10 years. And then when that came to its natural close, I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do. And the pandemic happened, and people just started calling me saying, "Hey, how did you run an online business?" And so I kind of naturally fell into business coaching. And now I really feel like I found my calling, and I'm like a systems person where I do a lot of work helping people get more done, do things more like efficiently. For example, a lot of times around social media, because that's a problem for everyone. So I'm kind of like the social media person for not social media people, if that makes any sense. Or I'm
Yes.
the business coach for business people who have lives outside of their business. So I'm all about like creating a balance and actually loving your business and loving your life.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. And I'm going to ask you this because I think you'll have an interesting answer on it. How do you feel about calling yourself a business coach?
You know what? I've really gone back and forth over the years.
Yeah,
At certain points, I thought, like, oh, am I a consultant, not a coach? I kind of hate the word coach because I feel like it's a bit watered down right now, but I
yeah,
haven't really found the right word. I'm still kind of searching for my perfect job title. Sometimes I
yeah,
say I'm an action-oriented business strategist, but that's a little bit of a mouthful. Yeah, I just haven't found the perfect job title, and I think the reason I use coach is because I do work really collaboratively with people. I
yeah,
don't come in and say, this is what you should do. Yeah, okay, that's nice. Whatever you have to say, I don't care. Like, this is what you have to do.
yeah,
I like really meet with people where they are, and we talk a lot about feelings too,
yeah,
honestly. I mean, I can't use the word therapist, but I feel like I'm a business therapist in a lot
yeah,
of ways. um so yeah, I just haven't really found a better way to describe it. I'm all ears. If anybody
yeah.
has a brilliant idea,
I know,
then
right?
I will pay you a nice fee or something for what my title should be.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny because I feel the same way. We do very similar things. And I felt so much the same way. And I could technically call myself a business coach. I say business
Mm-hmm.
strategist and systems expert, but I do much the same thing. It is like the holistic perspective and talking about, how you're feeling about everything that's going on
Yeah.
because that has so much to do with your business too. And it is like business therapy.
Yeah.
Um, but also I think business coach has been j a term that's been very much shit on for good reason
Sure.
in the online industry. And so I've really tried to like stay away from that because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be lumped in with like all of the shitty people doing shitty things.
Yeah. I totally feel that.
Yeah.
I just haven't really, it's the one I default to because
Yeah.
people understand it.
Yeah.
And I hope that if you listen to me for like 5 minutes, you understand what I'm about and that I'm not one of the shitty ones.
Exactly.
So, so I kind of rely on my own values and ethics and my presentation of that, for people to kind of put two and two together and be like, oh, okay, cool, like this is a good one, not a
Yeah.
shitty one. Yeah.
And I think that it is important too to like realize on the other side of that that not every person who calls themselves a business coach
Yeah.
is necessarily out there to try to get you and is like trying to
Sure.
scam you and do shitty things. Like, there are actually people who are trying to help you and like truly know how to help you build businesses,
Yeah.
even though they use that term. There's just like some people who have made it not so great.
Yeah. So I I think part of my challenge also is that I'm not I'm kind of a generalist in a certain way.
Yeah.
Since I founded and ran a magazine and I was really like the person who was in charge of everything and had my hand in like all of the pots, um, I really understand what it's like to be the person, even if you have a team or like a small team. I understand what it's like to be the person. And on top of that, I was a single mom. So it was like my living. And
Hmm.
I had to like manage my entire life and my child, who was quite young at the time. Um, so I find it a little difficult to sort of narrow down. I don't want to say like I'm a social media person because I'm
Yeah.
not, because that's where a lot of people come to me. It's like because it's a problem that a lot of people have and they're looking for solutions. So that's how a lot of people come to me. And I do have programs based around social media or do like VIP days about that. But then people who've done that work with me come back to me for other things.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I've had people come to me with like 30-page Word documents and saying, like, I want to give this course. This is my course. And I'm like, cool, let's figure out how you're actually delivering it.
Yeah.
you
This
know,
is not a course yet.
yeah. And so it's like, all right, let's figure out what the structure of this is. I've also like done teaching, like I taught.
Yeah.
So I have experience like with lesson plans and
Yeah.
organization of a curriculum and that kind of thing. um and so people come to me that for that, or people come for accountability, or I run a workshop each quarter about productivity and planning.
Yeah.
So I find it really difficult to narrow down. um, I'm like, I'm a systems person, kind of,
Yeah. Plus
like,
all of these other things.
yeah, I
Yeah.
build systems for productivity. I build systems for social media. I
Yeah.
help people figure out their tech if they need, um, if they want to build a course and they're trying to figure out how to present it, or sometimes it's just someone's feeling crappy about what's going on and they are unmotivated and they need a kick in the pants. So I'm like,
Hmm.
how do I sum all of that up? So business coach it is for now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel so much the same. There's, you know, so many things that I think we do, and I have a similar kind of background. Like I did teaching and things
Mm-hmm.
like that in university and whatever. And there are so many things that, you can do that it's hard to like narrow it down to that one little title that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this when it's actually like, no, it's all of these things. And you hear there's so many people online and it's like, well, you can't be a jack of all trades. Then, you're I can't remember what the hell the thing is that
Master
they
of none.
say. Master of none, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, I actually know how to do a lot of things and I'm really good at them. So,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, true. And I think the thing is, you can't, well, you can do anything if you have the right amount of money to either hire the right people and enough time to go looking for the right people. But a lot of times, the people I work with, they want to continue working with me because they
yeah,
like working with me. They like how I present information, they like how I get them moving on a certain path. So they don't want to have to go find like the Kate of online courses,
yeah,
um so I don't want, and also I don't know, maybe it's ADHD or whatever, but I like doing lots of things and I
I know.
love being involved with somebody in their business long enough to watch them really build it and watch them
Hmm.
get results from the things that we're working on in a way. Like I find that like such a rush,
Yes.
when I get the text message being like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I mean,
Yeah.
even I give a course about social media that's like a 30-day course. And even after that, people come back to me and they're like, oh my God, like 2 months ago, I never would have done this. But, like I was energized after this 30 days with you. So I tried this thing that I never would have tried before. And then I love being able to continue working with them and seeing their
Mhm.
progress like that. And I feel like it would be a real bummer for me to limit myself in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that like long-term partnership too, like you said, that makes it so it just it kind of changes things when you're able to work long term with people and really create like that partnership with them
Mm-hmm.
where you're truly like working together to create results for someone. It like that change that is a game changer. And I kind of like some of these words like game changer and things like that are overused online. I fucking can't stand, but
Yeah.
that actually is, it does really make a difference for people
Yeah.
rather than like having someone that comes in and is like, oh yeah, maybe do this or that or blah, blah, blah. When you have someone that's like willing to get in there with you and really like get to know your business, partner with you,
Mm-hmm.
it does make such a huge difference.
Yeah. And you're not, yeah. And also, you don't have to start from scratch with everybody. It's so much
Exactly.
work to help someone get to know you.
Yeah.
Um, to remind people what you're about, what you like, why you care, what you what your goals are.
Hmm.
And fortunately for me, through my different programs or through my membership, I get to really know people well and
Yeah.
stick around with them for a while. And I love that.
Yeah. And I think that that matters so much right now. It goes into like the whole building relationships thing. That is so fucking huge. I talk
Yeah.
about it all the time. I've talked about it with like so many people on the podcast lately. Building relationships with people, that goes so far right now.
Yeah.
And that makes you stand out online in your like
Yeah.
client
I talk about this
relationships.
all the
Like,
time. Like I
yeah,
say, we live in an age of like filters and
yeah,
fibbers and AI. And so if you can show up being a really real, but like imperfect is fine. People are
yeah,
totally fine with imperfect.
yeah.
You don't have to show up and sound like a news anchor. You can stumble on your words. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to care. Nobody's going to notice. It's you have to let it go for yourself, and forgive yourself for being human because other people want you to be human.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. And I think that if you actually show those parts of you, people
Yeah.
connect with you more because everyone does it. Like, it doesn't matter if you mess up something or
Sure.
whatever. Who cares? Everyone does it. I always post shit of myself messing up, or if I mess up, like recording my stories and stuff, I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
posting it anyways. I do not give a shit.
Yeah. Do you know how many videos I've posted with lipstick on my teeth? I can't even tell you.
Yeah, like,
I might have lipstick on my teeth right now. I don't know.
and no, you don't. And I can't see it anyways, so it should be fine.
I have a friend who she's like a kitchen coach, and she helps people with plant-based nutrition and especially athletes. And
Mhm.
she posted a video where it was like compost day, and she was emptying out her fridge, and she had like slimy greens and like salsa that had gone moldy on top, and she was like dumping it out and being like, it happens, you
Yeah.
know, like I do my best, but sometimes this happens, and I'll try to do better next week. That video exploded for her because
Hmm.
and like her following really exploded for her after
Yeah.
that, and everything did better after that. Because I mean, which kitchen coach do you want to follow, or meal person do you want to follow? Do you want to follow somebody who's like, a gram of sugar has never crossed my lips, and I have never thrown
Yeah.
anything out,
Yeah.
or do you want the person who's like, yeah, we all fuck up, whatever. Like,
Well, exactly. Like,
yeah,
sure, it's fun to like watch they have those ones where, they're making their fridges. I'm just thinking about like the fridge example now. They're making the fridges look all perfect and like everything's in little containers. And who the fuck has real time to do that? Who is
That's so
doing that in their
expensive to
real
do
life?
too.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who
Uh,
is actually doing this in real life other than the people who are making those videos? That is so out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
What? Come on.
I have to admit, I did kind of get influenced by someone who did something a little like that. And
I love it.
I'll give you a little context.
Oh, okay.
So somebody had taken their like meat and cheese drawer and turned
Yeah.
it into a salad bar. So
Oh,
they ordered
okay.
these different containers and they all came as a set. It was like a whole $19 or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't like a huge investment for me. And so it was 2 summers ago actually that I did it for the first time. I I don't eat a lot of cheese anyways because like my daughter and I are both lactose intolerant, so we
Oh,
don't have a
well,
lot of
yeah.
it in the house. And I'm not really a deli meat person, so I'm like, oh, that drawer is kind of the drawer where things go to be forgotten about. And so I made us a salad bar in there. So I have like my container of peppers and I have my container of like I'll shred a bunch of carrots beforehand and I usually have like I make my own dressings, so I usually have like a dressing or two on hand.
Yes.
So I do kind of have sometimes I have
Yeah.
one of those drawers, but my whole fridge is not like
Yeah.
that at all. Yeah.
But like that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The ones that are like so curated and perfect and everything's like in its place. And then these people have kids run it. I'm like, you don't have kids. If your
Yeah.
fridge looks like that, there no chance that you have kids.
Yeah,
That
totally.
is like the most unrealistic bullshit ever. Yeah,
I just
like
like the ice
no.
videos because they
The
sound
ice,
nice
I
when they're
know.
dropping ice into. First of all, who
I
has
was
an
gonna
entire
say.
freezer for ice? That like my freezer, forget it. You
I
know,
was gonna say that the ice videos, oh my God,
yeah. My
it's
ice
so
tray is always
ridiculous.
balanced on like a bunch of other things.
Right? I know, and you're like, don't spill, and it's like spilling, and you're whatever, it's fucking done now. Oh, I know, it's ridiculous. Like, people want to see real people because none
Yeah.
of this shit is realistic. No one's doing that in real life. We don't have time for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we don't.
No.
It's,
And I consider myself a pretty organized person.
yeah,
Like, but mostly because it's like out of necessity and I've learned that anything I can do for myself now makes my life easier later. So I'm one of those people who has bins in my like bathroom that each have a label. Like one is like grooming stuff, one is travel stuff, one is just bandages. Like they each have like one is teeth stuff.
hmm
And I have to be like that. And I also, I mean, my daughter is old enough to like make her own lunch and make her own breakfast for
yeah,
sure. But, she's 19 and, a hangry teenager is not a very fun teenager.
no, they're not.
So I like, I'm not one of those people who like spends their Sunday cutting vegetables or whatever, prepping meals for the week because first of all, I don't want to give up my Sunday. Like,
No,
but secondly, like, so what I do though is I make like huge batches of high protein waffles. Like, I came up with this
yeah,
high protein waffle mix and I freeze them. And then she goes in there in the morning and grabs 2 waffles and throws them in the microwave just because we don't have a toaster. And or like I make huge batches of like French toast that I make in the oven. So I don't even have to stand at the stove and flip things and do like a few pieces at a time. I do it on sheet pans in the oven. So I am one of those like weird prepper people in a certain way,
yeah,
but um but it doesn't look nice. It's not very aesthetic. I wouldn't like post it and be like, look at my perfect freezer, you
yeah.
know.
But it's
Yeah.
what works for you. And this is interesting because this also relates to like the business side of things.
Sure. I'm the same thing way with my business too,
Yeah.
especially with social media. I'm
Yes.
like, if I'm writing one post,
Yeah.
I'm writing a variation on that caption so I can use it again later. Or
Yeah.
if I'm creating one post with a testimonial on it, I'm taking 5 testimonials that I have recently and I'm creating separate posts
Yeah.
with those that I can schedule for later because I'm all about monotasking. I talk about it all the time. Anybody who listens to me must be so tired of this, but we waste so much time task switching.
Yeah.
And like, all right, I'm gonna make you listen to my little metaphor, but
Yeah.
so, if I told you, like, when I wash my laundry, I'm like, okay, what shirt do I want to wear tomorrow? And I find the shirt and I wash the shirt and then I dry the shirt and then I go hang it up in my closet. And then I'm like, okay, what pants do I want to wear tomorrow?
Yeah.
And I wash my pants and I dry my pants and I put them away. Like, you would think I was completely out of my mind. That's just like not how we do laundry, but that is how people are making their social media posts. They're waking up every day being like, oh, I have no clean underwear. And like, washing their metaphorical underwear, like making a social media post, when
Yeah.
instead you could be, people talk about batching, but I think people don't talk a lot about practically how do you actually make that happen. And for me, that means thinking in terms of the different tasks I have to do. And
Yeah.
if the task is, okay, I'm missing video for this, or I'm missing photos for this post, I'm going to say, okay, what other posts do I want to make where I need photos of this? Or what are other videos I can take at the same time? Or like, oh, I look cute today, I'm going to take a bunch of videos today.
Yeah.
Or, and writing multiple things at the same time, because you get your brain into a groove. And everybody also, you know, I find it really hard to be like, oh, I have to post. What am I going to post? And
Mm-hmm.
sit down and make a post from start to finish. It always takes you longer than you think it should.
Yep.
And then you're always kind of disappointed with the results and the amount of time you put in. But if instead you can be like, all right, today I'm thinking of all my concepts and writing a list of like any photos that are missing. Tomorrow I'm like, my brain's in a good place for writing. I have days that I'm way smarter than other days.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have times of day where I'm
Yeah.
smarter than other
Yeah.
times of day. I realized like afternoon for me is like sleepy time, kind of. Like, I eat
Yeah.
my lunch and then I'm a little tired, and it's not necessarily the best time for me to like do a lot of thinking on my feet or talking. Like, I prefer to do that stuff as early in the day as I can. um and I write better in the morning. I can just like zip it out real quick, whereas in the afternoon I want to be doing kind of mindless tasks,
Yeah.
production stuff that doesn't require a lot of brain power. And I know people who are completely the opposite. They need like the morning to sort of wake up and
Mm-hmm.
come online, and then they're ready to do kind of like the more thinky tasks. And that's great. And it's just about like knowing yourself
Yeah.
and knowing how this all works for you. But if you can bring the processes together so you're monotasking each time, you can get so much more done more quickly
Mm-hmm.
than you can doing individual posts. Like, I mean, how long does an individual post take you? I don't know. Like, how long do you think you take sometimes?
It depends on it depends on what I'm writing. Sometimes, yeah, if I'm like really in the groove, it won't take me very long. And if I
Yeah.
have like a really good idea that I'm passionate about and I'm like, fuck yeah, and I'm just like writing
Yeah.
it, it'll take me maybe half an hour for a
Sure.
carousel post or something, which is
Sure.
still like quite a bit of time
Yeah.
to
I've
bang
had
out the
people
whole
say to
thing.
me, like, it takes me an hour and a half to make a post. And I'm like, good God, I'm
Yeah.
sure you don't have an hour and a half in the day that you want to be spending on this, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and if
So,
you're thinking about that and like the people who are like, and I want to post 7 hour or 7 days a week, how are you doing that?
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
When you
people who tell me,
realistically look at
yeah,
that and it's taking you an hour and a half per one
yeah,
post.
yeah. And then also, people are so afraid of repeating themselves.
I
And
know.
I'm like, repeat yourself, please. Do you know how many
Yeah.
people actually saw that one post? Not that many.
No.
And like, for example, like, I've done experiments too where I post about one particular topic and then I post about the same idea, but I
Yeah.
write it a little differently. I present it a little differently a couple days later.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever said to me, you just talked about this.
No.
Or excuse me, sorry. Or nobody has said to me like, you basically posted this before. Like, because I have I
Yeah.
just before our call, I took 3 posts I had already made,
Yeah.
changed them slightly, turned them into a carousel. in order to promote my workshop that I'm giving tomorrow. So it took me all of like 5 minutes
Yeah.
max to update those. It was not a big deal. I changed the language a little bit, and
Mm,
then I took a couple minutes to write the post. So I was able to get a post up in like, I don't know, 8 minutes, 10
yeah.
minutes max. And that's only because I changed my mind halfway through about what I was
Yeah.
doing. But, like who amongst us who's like a small business owner has that much time in a day to give up to this kind of stuff?
I
Like,
don't know. And this is something that
yeah.
I talk about a lot because I think it gets in a lot of people's heads because for whatever reason, we think because we run online businesses, it means that we have to be constantly online.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what it is. You need to be running your business. You need to be doing whatever your business does. The
Yeah.
marketing part of your business is online, and that's a small part of like getting people into your business, but that's not what you actually do in your business unless you are like a social media manager or like that is actually your business.
Well, even the people I know who are social media
You're
managers
still
usually
not.
have the worst presences online.
Yeah,
And I
like you're
count
still
myself
not.
among them sometimes because, it's the whole cobbler's children have no
Yeah,
shoes thing, where like you're so busy working on everybody
yeah.
else's stuff. And I've seen people be like, why would I hire you as a social media manager if, you only have 1,500 followers, not like millions? And I'm like, it's because that person is spending their time on other people's stuff.
Yeah, that's not the point. I'm
Yeah.
not, y- and I think people have this so backwards. Like, we aren't looking to be influencers. I don't
Yeah,
need a million followers. What the
exactly.
fuck do
Thank you
I need a
so much for
million
saying that.
followers for?
Yeah.
Like, for real, what do I need that for?
Yeah. And people keep talking to me about like, oh, if I could go viral, if I could go viral. And I'm like, why do you want to go viral?
Why?
Like, if you go viral, that just means like million people who are not your people are interacting with your post. What is the point of that? Who cares?
I know.
You might find some new people. Cool. That'd be cool. But in this one workshop I give, and in my upcoming book, I talk about this. There's an influencer who shall remain nameless, who at one point had 2.6 million followers, and she wanted to start a clothing line,
Hmm.
and she needed an initial order of 36 t-shirts, and she could not get 36
Like,
t-shirts
yep.
sold. I'm pretty sure I could sell 36 t-shirts.
Yeah.
And at the time that happened, I was running a cake account that had about 1,000 followers. Not
Yeah.
all of them were even local to me. And I could sell more than 36 cupcakes or cakes in a weekend,
I
like,
know.
you know, who was more successful? Is it the woman with, thousands of likes and comments on each post, or was it me?
Well, and not, I kind of hate saying these things because I don't want this to become a big thing. But honestly, like when I had my first 10K month, I
Yeah.
had just over 400 followers.
Yeah.
Like, put these things into perspective. It doesn't
Yeah.
fucking matter.
I have a client actually who went through my social media program, and so she does the social media for her husband who's a contractor. And she wrote me one day and she's like, we're booked out. This was in the fall, by the way. This is a while, like maybe Labor Day last year, I think, or no, I don't know, or in the spring, I can't remember. It was a while ago anyway. And she was like, we're booked out through next spring. They were booked out for like 9 months
Yeah.
or like nearly a full year. And I think they're booked out even further than that right now. And she's like, we have 32 followers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's all they needed, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, like people get very hung up on the numbers,
Yeah.
or, um, if 10 people like my post, I'm like, cool, that's 10 people. Like, can you imagine like seeing 10 people in a day who are like, cool, good job? Like you'd
I
be like, oh my
know.
God, like, what is this? If
I know.
you know, but online people are like, 10 people, that's nothing. And I'm like, no, it's 10
Well,
people who interacted.
and I think putting this into another perspective,
Mm-hmm.
if you are someone that works like one-on-one with people,
Mm-hmm.
how many clients can you realistically take on?
Sure.
Why the fuck do you need millions of followers?
Yeah.
How many people are actually becoming your clients? You can't have a million clients.
Yeah. I
You
mean, and
cannot.
like, I don't have the hugest following in the world. I can't even tell you the number off the top of my head because honestly, I don't care and I don't pay
Yeah.
that much attention to it most of the time. But I've had people show up in my program who I've never met before,
Yep.
who I've never seen them interact with my content before.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Hi, how'd you find me?" And they're like, "Oh, my friend Kathy follows you." And I'm like, "Who's Kathy?"
I
I don't know
know.
who Kathy is
Yeah.
either. And they're like, "Oh, Kathy's like a personal trainer." I'm like, "I don't know
Oh.
her." Cool. Like, like,
That's
so,
great.
regardless of this person never interacting with my stuff and her friend never interacting with my stuff, she still paid me money to show up and be in my program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's so interesting. The shit that we get in our head and like
Yeah.
tell ourselves that needs to happen before we can be successful or
Hmm.
like whatever it is. And it's so not true.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a business owner. I am as much in that position as anybody that I work with because also it's very difficult to coach yourself, you know.
Hmm.
Um, everybody's got the solution. It's like, oh, the solution is doing podcasts more, or the
Yeah.
solution is relationships, or the solution is cold calls or whatever, which
Yep.
is not a solution I'd ever use personally, but
No.
just my personality and not going to happen. But everybody's got a solution, and what I see a lot of times with people I work with is the people who are always chasing what they think is going to be the magic wand. Like, this program's the magic wand, I
Hmm.
just need to learn this and then I'll be ready and
Yeah.
then I'll have success. Those are the people who keep spinning their wheels a bit because they're
Yeah.
always looking for a solution outside of themselves. And I'm totally
Yeah.
guilty of doing the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
The number of courses I've paid for that I walked out of being like, well, I knew that. Why did I pay that person? but
Yeah.
um, but like, it's the people who put their nose down and do the work
Yes.
and are not worrying so much about what other people are doing or what other people
Exactly.
are thinking.
Yep.
Those are the people who have more success, who get more things done,
Hmm.
which is why I run a program about productivity and about planning. And,
Yes.
because so many of us have ideas
Yep.
that, we just don't ever get out there because, it's normal. Like, there's always something screaming for your attention. There's always like, I'm sure everybody has like that one client, if you're service based, who like sends you 8 emails in a day. And so you're constantly like fielding, their emails and letting their priorities overtake yours or whatever. So, that's why I created a system to make it possible to manage your own priorities in a way that's a little different. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we all need this kind of help.
Yeah. And it's funny because my post actually today
Mm-hmm.
was like a super real, honest, heart to heart thing. It was like the cover of it is all right, friends. We need to have a little pep talk chat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's truly because I've heard this so often, well, for years, but especially more often lately, this whole comparison thing where people are getting in their heads over what this person's doing, what that person's doing. And oh my God, but every time I scroll my feed, I see this and I see that and I see the next thing. And I'm like, stop looking at all of this other shit that other people are doing.
Yeah, and I mean, also you can change, and I talk about this in my book actually too. Like,
Yeah.
you can change the way you're thinking about things that you're seeing.
Mhm.
You can think about it in terms of, okay, that person's doing that, that's interesting. um
Yeah.
I like this post. How would I do a post about a similar topic, but in my own way? Or what's my take on that? If you start examining what you're seeing more from a place of curiosity than a
Yeah.
place of comparison,
Yeah.
then it can actually be fuel for the work that you have to do. instead of like a source of anxiety.
Exactly.
When I started my magazine back in 2008, there was an editor of another magazine who we had a conversation, and she, she's technically my competition, at that point.
Yeah.
And she said to me, the best idea, like the best advice that I think I've gotten overall, she said, keep your nose down, do the work.
Yeah.
And she said to me, well, the nice thing about magazines is you always have another issue, hopefully, to try that idea again. If that idea
Hmm.
didn't come out the way you want, you can try it again in a couple of issues, or do it differently, or improve it next time. And I feel like that's the case also with our posts. Like, people who are either spending an insane amount of time perfecting their
Yeah.
posts, or spending a lot of energy um, examining what other people are doing and getting up in their head. Like, first of all, like the example I gave you of the woman with 2.6 million followers, like, she wasn't particularly successful. So you can't look at somebody else's numbers
Free.
and be like, oh, they get thousands of likes, they must be making like millions of dollars. They might be, they might not be. Like, we
No.
just don't know. They may
No.
be up all night worrying about how they're going to pay their payroll because they have a bunch of people under them. We just don't
Yes.
know. So, like, just keep your nose down and do your own
Yeah.
thing. I mean, when I was running my magazine, I came up with a very different model than was out there at the
Yeah.
time, and I was a different kind of online magazine than had existed at that point. And
Yes.
then a bunch of copycats popped up, like trying to do similar stuff to me.
Hmm.
And I have to admit, in the beginning, at first, I was like, you know, I would
Yeah.
look at them and I'd be like, crap, first of all, they're copying me. Secondly, it's competition. No, 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 no. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? Most of them published like one issue, two issues, and were
Yeah.
gone. And I lasted 10 years. So,
Yeah.
I finally just learned. I always say, like, if you are like, it's like if you're driving, if you're looking out your side window, seeing what the other car is doing, you don't know where you're going, and
Yeah.
you're going to crash into something because you're not in control of your own path.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And if you can just focus on what you want to do, that's where
yeah,
your results are going to come from. It's not
yeah.
watching what everyone else is doing and thinking that you're behind or you need to do some extra weird thing that you're not already doing or
Well, and there's a
whatever.
lot to be said for doing the things that work with your personality
Yes,
or your strengths, or
exactly.
I have a friend who, she's very into human design, and she like relates all of the stuff to human design. I'm very clueless about human design, but you know, I there are only certain things that I'm willing to do. And I think
Yeah,
maybe it's that I've reached a certain age. Maybe it's my complicated health history that has left me with maybe less energy than I would have had otherwise, or whatever. I just don't have the energy to pretend to be anything I'm not.
no,
I don't want to be on stage. Don't, like, I mean, I'll be on stage like speaking to an audience as a speaker, but I'm not going to act. Like, I'm not
no,
interested in that kind of thing. So I
absolutely
can
not.
either put a lot of time and energy into figuring out what I think I should be and trying to pretend to be this thing that I'm not, or I
No,
can just be myself.
exactly.
And, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't drink me. That's cool. It's
Exactly.
fine.
Bye.
Like, not offended, you know?
I know. I know. This is the whole thing. And I just, I always say, like, it doesn't matter. It does not fucking matter what anyone else is doing. They don't have the same goals as you. They don't want the same things. Their business is not the same. Even if you are in the same industry
Yeah,
doing the same things, it's still not the same.
right. And you and I do very similar
Yeah.
stuff. And, I don't consider you competition per se.
No.
you know, like, I actually kind of hate the whole idea of competition. It's
Yes.
like, okay, there are people who are going to really resonate with how you work. There are people who are
Yeah.
going to really resonate with how I work. there are people who maybe could be into both of us,
Yep.
and cool. Like you and I could figure that out too. I'm sure like there are ways we could like team up or
Yeah.
whatever. I, I feel like a rising tide, floats all ships, that whole thing, or like, people say competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. And I try to think of that. There's no sense in me sitting around in my house wondering what you're doing and being
I know.
like worrying about it. It's just keeping me from my own
Yeah.
stuff.
It's such a waste of time. And I personally have never like understood, I've never understood that mindset. I don't get it. And I think too, I was talking to someone else about this. It might have been on a podcast that I recorded recently, but
Mm-hmm.
there are so many people in the world. There are
Mm-hmm.
so many fucking people. Like, you're not losing out on clients.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just showing up as yourself is going to be a more
Yeah,
effective strategy all the time than either pretending or worrying about other people.
exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I want to talk a little bit about, because we got into this before we recorded, the AI thing, because we were having such a good conversation about this, and I wish it would have been recorded because it was hilarious. But I just want to talk a little bit about that because that's such a big thing right now that
Yeah,
everyone is like, going towards AI and whatever, it's AI everything, da da da. And yes, it does have some use, but
for sure.
also has limitations.
Yeah, it has limitations and I mean, I use AI. It's a
Yeah,
tool. It's a tool, but you have to bring your brain as a tool to the party as well because a lot of people are like, oh, write me a social media
yeah,
post. And, we spoke about this before. I used it as a way to draft one for myself the other day, and it came up with some kind of phrase, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but I was like, oh yeah, yeah. If I didn't have my brain online at first, I was just like, okay, sounds good. Yep, cool. Um, and then I actually sat with what it said, and I was like, that makes no sense. Like
yeah,
that one sentence is complete nonsense.
yeah,
Doesn't mean anything at all. It was something about ideas being expensive, and I'm like, what? And I'm like,
yeah,
no, that doesn't make any sense. In fact, what needed to be said was having an idea and not putting it into action is not going to help your bank account. It like the idea itself is not expensive unless you paid somebody for it. But if I didn't bring my critical thinking to that
yeah.
party, then I could have like put a post out there that didn't communicate well, was kind of nonsensical, like made me
Mhm.
look bad. Um yeah, so you really have to show up and think about it. And also, I mean, yes, you can train it. Like I've trained Claude and ChatGPT to speak like me to a certain extent.
Yeah,
It's going to be a bit, it's going to be kind of straightforward and a little jokey like me, but it also picks up phrases that I would never use. Like one
yes.
time it was like, hey, girly pop. And I was like, oh no.
What the
Or
hell?
like,
Yeah,
boss
like,
babe. And I'm like, I never
no.
say boss babe. You know,
Yes.
it will pick up things that are kind of common, or
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm standing here with my coffee writing you to talk about whatever, and I'm like, okay, I don't drink coffee. And when I said to it like, I don't drink coffee, like I love coffee but I don't drink it anymore, and I'm like, I don't drink coffee, then it's like, I'm standing here with my tea, and I'm like, I don't drink tea, will you stop talking about what I'm drinking? you know like it gets itself into that rut, and it's going to stay in that rut, and it's
Yeah,
sometimes very difficult to get it out of there. And it will say whatever is kind of like the most common idea around about a particular thing that is not necessarily
yeah,
my idea, my personality. So I'm just expressing kind of like a middle of the road common
yeah.
boring idea if I either allow it to do it without editing it or without critical thinking or without
Mhm.
teaching it. You can really end up with content or emails or whatever it is you're making that sound like nothing at all, you
Yeah.
know? It's just like dissolves like as you're trying to read it. Like,
Totally. And it's
yeah,
so funny that you say like the phrases that you don't ever say. I've had a couple clients where they have sent me things that I can tell are AI, and I'm like, I've had to send back to them. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, would you ever say this though in real life? And they're like,
yeah,
oh, and I'm like, we're not
yeah.
putting this into anything.
I had
Like,
somebody who's
don't
trying to
put
do me a
this in shit.
favor and they wrote me a recommendation for LinkedIn,
Oh
and I can tell they used AI.
no.
And I read it and I was like, what does this even mean? And in the end, I thought, like, I was like, this is making
No.
you look bad more than it makes me look bad. It's not even making me look bad. It's just making you look like you can't speak, you
And that's
know?
so weird. Why would why are you using it for these things?
Yeah.
Like this is overuse of AI. And it's interesting because I also saw, I can't, this was a while ago, but we were watching something on TV or whatever that was talking about the use of AI and how I think it was like younger people using AI and how it was actually diminishing their critical thinking
Yeah.
skills
Yeah.
because they were relying on AI so much.
Yeah. I mean, I have used AI to improve a recommendation for
Yeah.
someone for LinkedIn. I did it a couple weeks ago. Like I wanted to get this recommendation out to somebody right away. And I was like, okay, this is what we did. This is who she is. And it gave me back, and I kind of like wrote it in a really messy way. And it gave me back a more polished version, which I then
Yeah.
edited also.
Yes.
But, I do think it has its place. And especially for people, for a lot of us have a lot of trouble writing
Yeah.
or starting. Okay. A lot of people have trouble just starting. So if you use it as a way to start, where you're
Hmm.
like, okay, this is my rough draft, I can edit from here.
Hmm.
Um, or, but you have to do the editing, like you have to bring
Yeah.
yourself to work on it as well.
Well, exactly. Like you
Yeah.
can't just copy and paste out of it.
No, for sure. I mean, I do think it has a lot of uses. I found a lot of good uses for it. But no, am I horrified by the environmental impact? Yes.
And
Am
that's the other.
I concerned about like my daughter's generation and younger
Yeah.
and their own critical thinking skills? I mean, I'm already afraid in general for the world and our critical thinking skills, quite frankly.
Yeah.
um so yeah, absolutely. But I do use it. I use it a fair amount. I just try to be really smart about how I use it and consider it
Yeah.
like a tool, not
Yeah.
like the the machine that gets it all done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that that's, yeah, a good way to look at it. Oh my God. Okay, well, one last thing I ask everyone.
Mm-hmm.
How are you making an impact in your business, in your life?
Well, one thing I'm like really like I love about my business and I'm proud of is that everybody I work with really gives a crap about other people. Whether the people I work
Mhm.
with, whether they are, I've worked with people who are quilt designers or who make yarn. I've worked with a lot of people in the crafting industry because I have a background in the crafting industry. Or I work with a holistic vet. I work with authors. I've worked with lots of different kinds of people, realtors, I'm not like I don't super niche down on who I'll work with, except like you have to be nice and
Yeah.
you have to give a crap about other people. And so I firmly believe that the that when women in particular have money, I don't work exclusively with women, but I work mostly with women. And those who have not been women are often in the LGBTQ space. Um, so like I feel like when women have money, we do, and it's been shown in studies that we do really good things with our money, and that
Yeah.
every dollar that gets put into a woman run business comes back to the community threefold. And, as a, divorced mom who, had full custody. So I just usually just call myself a single mom. You know, I know that money makes a difference. It makes
Hmm.
a difference in my life. And
Yeah.
I want other women, especially, to have that kind of freedom and that kind of security, um, where they're not relying on other people. And I love helping other women have that security and have that freedom and also balance in their lives and feel good about their work. I mean, realistically, when I had a 7.5 year old, you know, and I was running my magazine, I could not do like 80-hour weeks and neglect my kid and just do other stuff. She was with me, 6 days out of 7 most weeks. So I feel like I provide the support for people that I needed at that
Yeah.
point. And that's always my goal is I think if I had had the correct support while I was running my magazine, I could have kept it going. I could have grown it. I had all these projects I wanted to do that I could have actually potentially realized. And so my goal is always to be that person that I needed so I can help other people move forward and have like nice, well-rounded lives where they feel happy and they love their businesses and they're out there doing good in the world too.
Hmm. I absolutely love that so much. I love that so much because I feel so much the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So love that. Where can people find you?
You can find me at kategilbert.com. It's Kate, Kate, and Gilbert, Gilbert. Or you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, but Instagram, I'm Kate GI because I could not get the rest of my last name in there. like, so Kate GI for short. And yeah, and I have a book coming out. If people are more interested in all this like talk I do about like feelings and management of social media and stuff, I have a book coming out called Social Media Group Therapy. And I have a freebie if you want. That is
Yes.
called Yikes, I Should Post. And it's for all those people who are like, oh crap, I should really post today. I don't know what to post. I don't want to spend an hour and a half on this. I need to get this done quickly. So, and you can find it at kategilbert.com/yikes.
Amazing. I will link all of that in the show notes so that everyone can go check all of it out. Thank you so much for this conversation. It has been
Yeah, thanks
so
for having me here.
good.
It's always so fun to hang out with you and see where our discussions go.
Yes, it always is. It's always so good. Well, if you have enjoyed this episode, you can give it a 5-star rating, review, like on YouTube if you are watching us there. And as always, go after everything that you fucking want and be unapologetic about it.